As much as any loyal countryman wants her country to lead, there's only one contender, China. For these reasons, China has demonstrated the capability to innovate. I've heard a saying here in Quora that says, the Google of India is Google, the Amazon of India is Amazon, the WhatsApp of India is WhatsApp. However, the Google of China is Baidu, the Amazon of China is Alibaba, the WhatsApp of China is WeChat. Soon the Intel of China, the AMD of China, the Tesla of China, will make their way towards world stage. Yes, a part of that comes from forced technology transfer and reverse engineering. But those who say China can only copy, not invent, has somehow forgotten that the Chinese has always been great inventors, or probably they have never heard anything about 4 great inventions of China or John Bull. Truthfully, forced technology transfer and reverse engineering is not new. What's new in China is, they can manufacture it at half the time and a quarter of the cost. China has infrastructure like no other. In simplest analogy possible, 4,000 years ago someone owned 500 goats, because, well, that's as much goat milk he can sell to his village. Then someone invented the wheel, enabling him to sell 10x as much goat milk to 10 other villages. If technology is the height of the skyscraper, infrastructure is the foundation upon which wealth is built. In this part I will let pictures speak for themselves with as little explanation about the building as possible. 55 km sea crossing bridge. Due to treacherous mountainous terrain, as of 2019, China built 4,000 plus km of expressway like this just in Gansu province, so Chinese can drive 120 km per hour on it. 350 km per hour high-speed railway will be built after that. China has lifted poverty like no other. No country has lifted half poverty in less than 50 years. Except China, who lifted 88% people out of poverty from 1981 to 0.7% in 2015. Again, simple analogy works here. GDP growth is defined as follows: growth equals consumption plus exports, imports plus government spending. With the exception of few economies, consumption is always the largest contributor, especially if they have at least 1 billion citizens. Any country that takes the lead must have the power to redistribute its wealth to citizens, increasing their welfare, and resulting in higher consumption. Poverty is a trap, and is severely hard to escape from. So in most cases, the responsibility relies on the government. Poverty is a very chronic sign of a country's lack of ability or interest to increase consumption. China's leaders works for the best interest of Chinese, while Donald John Trump spends his youth in penthouse with golden-coated marble toilet. Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, spends his youth in 1970s here. Xi's father is a political elite, yet he lives in a cave without electricity, water, or network connection, with fleas and bug beds. In a village with $20 GDP per capita, young Xi dug out village excrement to make fertilizer, sold his motorbike, which is a luxury back then, to buy water pump, developed agriculture, made the village prosperous, and made his career as the village's party secretary. Xi is not unique. China has 80 million officials, most of them volunteered themselves and each of them made the climb based on merit. Seriously, if you have 80 million to choose, how many self-serving, dishonest, corrupt, incompetent officials made it barely halfway to the top? And if officials willingly dug shit for their village, will they sit idly while poverty and inequality runs through China? Since so many people mentioned about the USA, I decided to elaborate this part further. USA needs to deal with the elephant in the room. Actually, the elephant has been shoved aside by the ultracolossal Stegosaurus rex. Sad face. Why the silly name? Why Egosaurus? Because it is born out of an ego, a selfishness. What are the signs? Again, picture helps. Americans spending almost twice as much as the next biggest spender for healthcare, yet still falls short in terms of life expectancy. And here, me, sitting literally on the other side of the globe, I've read stories that Americans have to pay 100,000 United States dollars for cough treatment if she is that unlucky. On top of it, astronomical amount of student debt that cripples future generation. Why did you rob your future generation, Americans? You are already the wealthiest nation in the world. Is what you have not enough, so why?